Okay, this video about dispersions. They can be classified to solutions, emulsions, and suspensions. So what is solution? A mixture in which the minor component, named solute, is uniformly distributed within major component, the solvent. A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more components in which the particle size is smaller than 1 nanometer. So please mind difference between resolving a problem and dissolving substances in a solvent. So solution has two meanings. One is to resolve a problem, and another meaning is to dissolve substance in a solvent. Okay, examples of solutions. It is the term solution is commonly applied to the liquid state of matter, but solutions of gases and solids are possible. Air, for example, is a solution consisting chiefly of nitrogen as a solvent and oxygen with smaller amount of several other gases. Brass is a metal alloy, and this is a solution composed of copper as solvent and zinc as solute. The ionic compound breaks down into ions when it is dissolved in water. Example, table salt. On the other hand, molecular components break down into molecules on dissolving to molecules. Example, sugar in water. Ionic and molecular solutions. What is the main difference? Difference between solutions of ionic and molecular compounds, it is that ionic compounds are electrolytes and conduct electrical current, and while molecular compounds do not conduct electrical current. Concentration of a solution is a measure of the amount of solute that has been dissolved in given amount of solvent or solution. Saturated solution is a solution in which there is so much solute that if there was any more, it would not dissolve. So units of concentration, it can be different. It can be, again, as I said, in amount of solvent or solution. This can be both accepted. So it is just examples. Amount of solute dissolved in 1 liter of solution, gram per liter, and also what is used percent by mass, percent by volume, and parts per million for very dilute solutions. Molarity is the number of moles of solute in a liter of the solution. So its measure is moles per liter, and mole is the amount of material containing 6 times 10 in power 23 particles. That is Avogadro number. It is also the mass of material. If it is one material, it is his atomic number or molecular weight. This was it. Concentration is of a solution is a measure of the amount of solute that has been dissolved in a given amount of solvent or solution. Again, both accepted. You can use amount or liter of the solvent or liter of the solution. A saturated solution is a solution in which there is so much solute that if there was any more, it would not dissolve. Rate of dissolving. The rate of dissolving of a solute in a solvent is faster when solute and solvents are stirred or they are under ultrasonic stirring, and the solvent is warmer. If the solvent is warmer, or if solid consists of small particles with more surface area. Separation of the solid from solvent. What methods we can consider as examples? Crystallization separates a solid solute from the solution by cooling of the solution or evaporation of the liquid content. This a good example is this harvesting of salt, table salt, from seawater. Distillation separates the liquids in a mixture of liquids based on their boiling points. The good example is distilling alcohol. Chromatography separates a mixture by passing through a medium in which the components move at different rates. Gases can be separated from solvent by reducing pressure, for example, with vacuum pump. But also carbon dioxide when it is dissolved in water and at high pressure, if you open the bottle, for example, carbon dioxide will go out. So you see, this is some good example how in Thailand, in this country, people make distill whiskey, wow cow. And you see that equipment is very primitive, and of course quality of the drink is awful. It's actually not healthy to drink such alcohol. So because there is no temperature control, and then of course this distilled whiskey has a lot of impurities, and then it is not healthy to drink such whiskey. Dispersion, suspension, colloids. What is meaning? So dispersion in chemistry is a mixture in which fine particles of one substance are distributed in another substance. It is general. So a dispersion is classified as suspension, colloid, emulsion, and solution. In chemistry, a suspension is one subclass of the dispersion. Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture of solid particles in liquid, but not dissolved. This is relatively large particles. The size of the particles is large enough to separate in time from liquid under gravity. Examples are muddy water, the mixture of flour and water, for example. And colloid is a suspension of particles that are substantially larger than atoms or molecules, but too small to be visible by the naked eye. So about 10 in power minus 7 to 10 minus 3 centimeters. The size is 10 micron maximum, and down to 1/10, oh no, 1 divided 10 in power 10, so 1/10 of nanometer. 1/10 of nanometer, or it is like 10 minus 5 from meter, it is 10 micron. Examples are smoke in the air and gels. Emulsion is a mixture of two or more liquids in which one is present as droplets of microscopic size. Examples are milk, cream, and some paint sometimes. What is emulsification agent? To make emulsion more stable, an emulsifying agent is a surface active ingredient which absorbs at the newly formed oil-water interface during emulsion preparation, and it protects the newly formed droplets against coalescence. Separation of dispersion. Sometimes you want to separate the materials of the dispersions, and one way it is centrifugation, that is spinning the dispersions around an axis in a centrifuge rotor at high speed, so it is the same like given very high acceleration. And good example, extraction of fat from milk in order to produce skim milk and butter. Evaporation of bound liquid in vacuum. For example, if you apply vacuum, you can evaporate water, but fat evaporates at much higher temperature, and it actually don't evaporate. So you can separate protein or fat, which is like colloid in liquid. So this is the only way to separate it. Also, you can use outer filtration if the size of the particles suspended in the liquid is larger than the opening in the filter. Also, it can be separated by reducing the pH or use emulsion breakers. So it is good example. It is making cheese. So by adding this lemon juice or citric acid, and then you can separate protein and you can separate fat from the whey. Whey it is can be used further, and you can evaporate whey, and the rest of the proteins can be extracted from this. Okay, dispersion in chemistry is a mixture in which fine particles of one substance distributed in another substance. Dispersion is classified as suspension, colloid emulsion, and solution. Okay, this is I already was talking about this. I don't know why this slide repeats. Okay, no problem. Okay, let's go to pH. pH, it is just measure. We will not go to theory because you just have to remember that we can we can also classify not only by density but pH. pH is a measure of the acidity and alkalinity of the solution, and pure water has pH 7. If it has pH 6.5, it's also considered as neutral. But solutions that have pH less than 7 and solutions that have less than 7, they are acidic, and if pH is greater than 7, they are considered as alkaline solutions. So we can dissolve acids and bases to get acidic and alkaline solutions, and just some examples. Strong acids and bases are 100% ionized in an aqueous solution. Strong acids like hydrochloric acid, hydrobromic acid, nitric acid, and these they have very low pH, and so below 5, mostly below 5. And weak acids they have pH in the range of 5 to 7, and examples like acetic acid, benzoic acid, like ascorbinic acid and oxalic acid. Weak bases, they have also pH limited by range from 7 to 10. Good examples: ammonia and zinc hydroxide. Okay, then it seems so that simple, and it seems that you probably think that you never use it, but it is not so. Importance of the knowledge about the solvents and solutes and the solutions is very important, and even can save life of some humans. So it is science quite actually with good applications. So making solutions and measuring concentrations, as I said, seems to be trivial, but knowledge of chemistry of solution may save human lives and reduce suffering of others. And a good example is about oxalates, citrates, and uric acid. Vegetables and fruits that contain high levels of oxalate are such as potatoes, spinach, beets, and soy products are almonds, dates, and calcium oxalate solubility is only 0.61 milligram per 100 gram of water, or if it is in liters, it is 6 milligram per liter, so it's very low at 20 degrees centigrade. And calcium oxalate, therefore, because of its very low solubility, it can accumulate in small crystals in our body, in the human body, and with very many big problems. Calcium oxalate depositions commonly affect bones, bone marrow, blood vessels, central nervous system, peripheral nerves, retina, eyes, and skin, and thyroid. So consequences are such diseases and problems like stones in kidneys, damage of the kidneys, dementia, spontaneous urination and defecation, and also gout or arthritis. This is a typical picture of the gout, arthritis. You see, many old people suffer from this, and they have no idea why it is happening. Why? But if you know chemistry, if you know this science, you can help them, because this swelling of the joints happening because of the calcium oxalate. Sorry about this. I didn't stop internet. Since calcium oxalate monohydrate is only slightly soluble in water, less than 7 milligram per liter of water, then if you consume a diet rich with oxalates, the calcium oxalate would accumulate in time in all tissues of the body, like sand. Even in the brain, because also it accumulates in the brain, a small molecule of oxalic acid crosses the blood-brain barrier, and this barrier should prevent the entry into the brain of neurotoxic components, and also blood cells and pathogens. But because molecule of oxalate is also small, it goes inside, reacts with calcium in there, and then after entering the brain, oxalic acid ions react with calcium ions and cause inflammation of the brain tissue and nerves. Chronic inflammation of the brain tissue is likely to be an important factor in development of migraine, dementia, Parkinson, and Alzheimer's diseases in the elderly. With the accumulation of calcium oxalate, the transmission of nerve impulses through the synapses is disrupted. In particular, the accumulation of calcium oxalate in the nerves that are responsible for opening and closing the sphincters of the digestive system. It is anus, urethra, gallbladder, urine, bladder, and others. In particular, in the elderly, spontaneous urination and defecation may occur. It is very nasty, such a disorder, and so it's very, very bad. But so then also what else? The release of stomach content into that up to go to up, and this is to esophagus, medical name esophagus, which actually you see as a burns of the esophagus mucosa with hydrofluoric acid. So it is, very also unpleasant. Okay, you see that oxalate ion is very small, and it is -2, so 2 hydrogen atoms can be connected, and this ion is getting through the blood barrier, and also it is damaging nervous cells, and then it will produce various type of crystals. So let's check what is the high content of oxalates in vegetables and fruits. What is you see that green onions, which are popular in salads, they have a lot of oxalates. Also green tea. If you drink green tea, you are consuming a lot of oxalates. Spinach is again considered by medical doctors as very healthy vegetable, but it is quite opposite. The situation is quite opposite. Even banana have also high amount of oxalates. So all the stuff which is presented here, better think twice before you eat them. But again, it is recommendations of the doctors are quite opposite. They recommend to eat fruits and vegetables of different colors, despite they are full of oxalate. But again, eating spinach also recommended by medical doctors, but actually create huge problems. So by people I just don't understand. And medical doctors again, they don't know what they are talking about. The accumulation of calcium oxalate in the nervous tissue and nerve significantly worsens the quality of life and self-esteem of elders. Not only do oxalate crystals can cause tissue inflammation, but the rate of deposition in tissue gets enhanced as the inflammation increases blood flow and the supply of calcium, also as together with oxalate ions with the bloodstream. So it's just self-supported reaction, and then if it starts, then the accumulation of these oxalate crystals are going very quick. Oxalate ions easily penetrate through endothelium layer on the inside of the blood vessels and cause the release of histamine by mast cells. Such mast cells are like on a guard, and if you have damage, they release the histamine, which is a signal molecule to produce inflammation, but also to attract immune cells. A chronic increase in histamine level leads to a narrowing of the lumen in the blood vessels and an increase in blood vessels. Kidney excrete oxalates to the bladder, but if these crystals will occur, they can penetrate the mucous membrane of both the bladder and urinary tract with a lot of pain. It leads to inflammation with symptoms similar to bacterial infections, like cystitis, but it's of course antibiotics do not help in this case, and even worsen the symptoms. So because it increases the absorption of oxalates from the intestines. Chronic inflammation of the urinary tract leads to slow urination and tissue fibrosis, and in time to the spontaneous transition of some healthy cells into zombie state. This this is a big topic about accumulation of so-called zombie cells. I can talk about in special videos. This is actually happens with because aging of the human body is happening because in part because of accumulation of zombie cells. Since those zombie cells are larger in volume than healthy cells, the accumulation of calcium oxalate in the urinary tract, mucosa, and the release of pro-inflammatory signal molecules leads over time to an increase in the volume of the prostate gland and to the development of adenoma of the prostate gland. This is also prostatitis. According to statistics, half of men over 40-50 years old, they complain to the doctors about this adenoma of prostate gland. As a man ages, the risk of development of this APG, it's a mistake, increases, and over time it develops in 85% of men. Official medicine consider that a disbalance of sex hormones to be cause of this adenoma of prostate gland, and recommends taking drugs that prevent formation of dihydrotestosterone, which is a biologically active form of testosterone, and actually taking such drugs is turning a man into a castrator. This is what nice at all, so it is a big problem. It is very hard problem, and nobody thinks that the cause of this problem is accumulation of calcium oxalate. So otherwise, what they also do, these medical doctors, they produce a surgical excision of the ureter to increase its lumen. Again, it is maybe not so expensive, but it's not. Again, they don't cure the cause of the problem, or just diminish symptoms. So to prevent the development of APG, official medicine recommends so-called healthy food. But healthy food, they recommend to eat a lot of vegetables and fruits with oxalates. So they again, and also they propose to limit consumption of all animal products. And this is all, to my opinion. Again, I'm not medical doctor, I am doctor in science. So my opinion is that it is horrible recommendations, and of course, if you know chemistry and physics like I do, you would never recommend to use this plant-based diet with a lot of fruits and vegetables which are full of oxalates. Okay, then this call fruits and greens as real food, which is completely toxic to my opinion, and then also they try to lower cholesterol levels by taking statins. Statins are terrible drugs. Okay, it's again my opinion. I'm not medical doctor, but I would avoid taking statins just because it is so dangerous substance. It is will kill you. It is kill the production of testosterone. It is making people unable to use fat as a source of energy. So it is terrible recommendations. And I don't know is it some these medical doctors are stupid, or they just make business and they want people have the problem, and so that they will pay money to the medical doctors, medical professionals. I don't know this. What is behind of this recommendation? This is a picture of kiwi, and you see the crystals, needle-like crystals of calcium oxalate in kiwi. So the kiwi is really also another photo you see under microscope, and then it is also very damaging food. So if you eat kiwi, you can damage your guts and you can damage your stomach. So again, recommendations to eat kiwi are wrong, to my opinion. And then green onion, especially green onion, has a lot of crystals, a little bit different form. They're like small particles of sand. They also can get to your body if they dissolve. If they dissolve in in guts, and they can get into the blood. Okay, then if this calcium and the oxalate ions are getting to blood, then calcium oxalate can be formed. Crystals can be formed in the kidney. These crystals are very small, but they produce inflammation, and the kidney eventually stop to work. And this is a big problem in old age. Or otherwise, what else? Other problem, it is formation of kidney stones. Many people suffer from this, and again, without any idea of what is causing the problem. This is some examples of kidney stones which are crushed by ultrasonic radiation, and they are removed from the kidney. So it's again good business, but actually all the reason why they appear, it is because of the diet full of the plant food. In all animals except humans and primates, uric acid is broken down by the action of enzyme named uricase, and this enzyme is produced in the liver, and then it can be excreted. But in primates and humans, due to the lack of the enzyme, then uric acid may accumulate in the blood, and always it was thinking that arthritis is due to excessive consumption of meat and alcoholic beverage. It is not so, absolutely wrong. So these medical professionals again given the wrong explanation. And modern medicine counts as a risk factor of gout development following factors: high blood pressure, excessive consumption of red meat and internal organs, as well as tea, chocolate, peas, lentils, fructose, alcohol, especially beer. Okay, I would agree not to eat much fructose and alcohol. This is correct. And chocolate maybe too, but red meat is absolutely necessary, and it doesn't make any problem actually, and especially internal organs they're full with vitamins and very healthy. But again, it's my personal opinion. The four official dietary recommendations are to limit consumption of animal products, again, which is completely opposite to my opinion, and to increase amount of vegetable proteins, to reduce amount of vegetable proteins, and we need protein a lot. We need protein to be healthy, 1.6 gram per kilo of weight at least, or maybe 2 gram of protein, of dry protein per kilo of weight. Also, they recommend to limit alcohol, tea, cocoa, and coffee, and then it is again a little bit stupid to my opinion. Okay, alcohol certainly better to limit, but tea and cocoa and coffee, green tea, yes, not good, but cocoa or coffee, okay, it's possible to drink if to understand what else you can do. It's easy to alleviate the problem, to resolve the problem. Since the accumulation of oxalate crystals in the kidney is not officially considered as the cause of development of the renal failure, that kidney failure, modern pharmacology does not offer any universal drug that may cure arthritis. But I propose, and this is actually very simple and very easy way, to reduce accumulation of oxalates everywhere in the tissue, because you have to remove them. Accumulation of oxalates, this gives result, or that your body is aging, it accumulates rubbish, and it's producing the chronic inflammation of the tissue. So what else? Well, you can consider from science that magnesium oxalate solubility is 380 milligram per liter, and it is 62 times more than calcium oxalate. So a regular supplementation of magnesium salts, such as Epsom salt, will eventually dissolve the calcium oxalate. And more than this, again, we need magnesium in our body for many other processes, so it's just a must. You have to consider supplementation of magnesium salts just by definition. Okay, calcium citrate solubility is 146 times more than calcium oxalate, and therefore regular consumption of lemon juice or citric acid solution will eventually dissolve calcium oxalate depositions. Not quick, not next day. It may take years because it has to penetrate all tissues and dissolve these calcium oxalate crystals everywhere. And also, if you consider calcium citrate solubility 620 gram per liter, so it's huge, absolutely huge, then it is million times more than calcium oxalate solubility in water. Then ascorbic acid, it is maybe the best what you can do, and you have to, it is recommended to use mega doses, so-called mega doses. Mega doses are 2 grams per day of the ascorbic acid, and or you can use, for example, not ascorbic acid but sodium ascorbate. It's also help. Personally, I take myself take 15 grams per day, some days 30 grams per day. Up to 100 grams per day is safe. Okay, that's all. So you see that if you know such about solubility, solvents, and solutions, then you can actually help people, and even you can make money, and just giving good advice. And so, and as I'm not medical professional, I'm not interested to keep humans sick. I help them, giving good advice, and then also I use this recommendation for myself, and then it is really a big help to stay healthy. That's all. Thank you for your time.